It may just be race 10 of the season for the Area Florida State Builders Pro Series, but that only means that there's 7 rounds to go. And the next 2 are the last 2 before the regular series comes to completion and we head into the playoffs at Bristol. It means that you're running out of time to get your name up on the board of winners and lock your way into those playoffs. But tonight we race at Homestead-Miami Speedway for the Factor 195. Welcome to Homestead-Miami. My name is Kyle Hyatt, joined tonight by Hunter Sleppy. Hunter, welcome aboard. The Florida State Builders Area Pro Series has raced 9 times prior to this tonight, but this is one of our biggest fields since the start of the season. 43 entries. That is a new area record 10 weeks into the season.
Got to be something to do with Florida, or maybe just this racetrack in general. As mentioned, the Factor 195, Factor sponsoring all 3 area events this weekend, and I gotta say, this is a perfect racetrack. I said it Monday night, I'll say it again. This track should be the track that ends the regular season. You got a gorgeous background here in Homestead-Miami, and you got a great racetrack with multi-groove racing on all fronts. You can run top, middle, bottom, and so, shockingly, we have yet to see a caution in any of the Area Pro Series races at Homestead. We did one back in Season 1 and then Season 2 and 4. No yellows yet, Kyle, but with a field nearing 43, I feel like it's bound to happen that we're going to get at least some carnage tonight.
It's probably likely with 43 cars. I'd be absolutely just totally blown away if we could do 130 laps here with 43 cars with no yellows. But here's a look at those that are well in the green. James Scioli, 4 wins on the season. Jake Nichols, Shane Therian, Connor Urashak, Richard Thomas, all locked into the playoffs. But Travis Beckner, 13th, outside looking in right now. Danny Ware, Justin Munsell, Mason Kane. So many of these drivers are capable of getting in. But how about JT Poole even? Only 10 points above the cut line, and we're just running out of time. Things can shake and shuffle so much in the next 3 races, but you certainly can't dig yourself out of any holes you create tonight.
No, absolutely not. And guy not even on this list is Alan Elwood. He's sitting 21st in points right now. He's starting to get into a rhythm where he just came off his best finish of the season back at Richmond in 3rd with a pitch strategy that almost worked to his advantage, just a couple positions off. And then the week before that, had a winning car going at Darlington, then got caught up in a wreck with 40th. But he's starting to pick up his pace at the right time, and Homestead should be a pretty good track for Elwood on the 1.5 miles. Feels like he's back in the swing of things, and who knows, if he hasn't won a race by Talladega, then that's his last opportunity, as for many other drivers, Kyle.
Yeah, certainly. Qualifying is underway now, but of course this is the Factor 195. Of course, look and eat healthier in 2024. No need to fear. Factor is here. Choose from over 20 different meal options each week, including keto-friendly choices, calorie-smart meals, and vegetarian options. Factor meals are prepared with nutrients and ready to eat in 2 minutes or less, saving time so you can enjoy your day without meal prep or cleanup. Click the link in the chat to get started and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. That chat is in Twitch with !Factor and is pinned in the YouTube chat, so make sure you check it out and get 50% off your first run of Factor meals. Qualifying, though, already happening on track. A handful of cars have already put down some lap times here, Hunter. As we jump on track, here is James Scioli just getting up to speed here, but Richard Thomas currently at the top of the board.
Yeah, Scioli's won the last 2 times we've been to Homestead, and the only other winner here is Cameron Hearn. Is currently 3rd on the racetrack, but we do have Jake Nichols in this field, and we haven't seen him run at all in the Pro Series until the start of Season 5. Doing a pretty solid job, but you see the track conditions there. Almost 130 degrees track temp. It is hot and slick out there, so kind of expect some more slipping and sliding, kind of like what we saw Monday, but with more tire wear tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be hot, and we're going to see lots of tire wear. We saw, 2+ seconds on Tuesday, so I'd expect to see something like that tonight, maybe a lot more wear, I should say, than we saw on Monday, where we had almost nothing. So all things to consider, JT Poole is also getting up to speed here. Delonte Ballard, Alan Elwood are on their qualifying laps at the moment as they work their way around this 1.5 mile speedway. Anna Sogak goes 8th quick. Here's Alan Elwood, and you mentioned he's on the outside looking in and outside of the top 20 in points. So he has some work to do tonight. And he has had pace. That has not been his problem. It has been luck that has kept him out of point.
Yeah, currently 8th quickest on the board, just behind Ryan Hart's in the 3. I honestly feel like Elwood's in the right place. And as soon as he gets inside that top 20, the better, because he could win say, tonight, or he could win next week at IRP for the Pro Series, and then, like I said, last shot at Talladega. So he's still got 3 weeks, including tonight, to get the job done. And so does JT Poole. Still have 3 weeks to get that first win of the season.
Yeah, JT's one that might have surprised me. Again, just got so much pace week in and week out. It isn't shy of getting up on the wheel either. That time through, as he throws the car into a slide in turn 1, it'll put him 10th place. Travis Beckner has yet to roll. Here's Brad Slaughter Jr. getting up to speed in the Lumar Toyota GR Supra. Nice looking livery, and he's still on his warm-up lap.
We're getting close to that wall there, the 8 of Slaughter, and he's actually going to spin right towards the barrels, but going to avoid it. Not going to be good for his tires or lap time, though.
No, well, he didn't start the lap yet, so he can reset and go again if he'd like to. Here's Justin Munsell out of the final corner. See what he's got. Crosses the stripe. So take a look over at the timing screen. 34.276. Good enough for 8th. Not a bad lap. And you can see the relief that he's up in the top 10.
Yeah, Munsell needs a good run going, and average starting spot 13th, so already good there. But started second last week at Richmond, came home 37th, and he's had 3 straight finishes outside the top 30 after having the season best 4th at the Charlotte Roval quite a few weeks back. But he's almost on the danger zone of falling outside the top 20, so even if he does win in the next 3 weeks, he needs to be in that top 20, and you don't want to fall out of it.
Travis Beckner in the 27. Big slide out of turn 4, working the wheel here. Let's see what he's got. 34.313. That'll be good enough for about 12th. And Eric Wineland is also working his way through.
Got a chrome bumper.
Wineland does?
Good bit of chrome on that 66. Yeah. Couldn't tell there, but in the turns in turn 1 and 2, yeah, you could see the chrome. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I think it's just a spec map layer, and I guess you could do it over the stamp because he's got a custom number, presumably. So that would explain that. A little loose there out of 4. 37 qualifiers, by the way. At 34.723, that is only good enough for 34th. That is not going to be a lap that he's stoked about, I don't think.
Yeah, he is not happy at all, but plenty of time for him to make that up in the race. And here's John Furness. Now, Jacob Bell thinks that tonight's the night for John Furness where he'll get his win, and he's being so close, and just by not even a fender, not even an inch, by iRacing's timing and scoring, because Jake knows all about that. John Furness just barely lost out last week at Richmond in the closest finish in area history.
James Scioli was only able to go second quick, by the way. Urashak goes up to the top. Furness goes 10th. And Danny Ware and Chris Rabel will be the only drivers not to qualify tonight. So that will conclude our qualifying efforts here. It is a 40-car field. Here's what that looks like. Breaking it down real quick for the next 30 seconds or so. Urashak, Scioli, Weishart, Thomas, and Nichols, your top 5. First of the Fords is Cameron Hearn. And then Ryan Hart's John Furness wrapping up the top 10. Alan Elwood, JT Poole, Travis Beckner. That's a good trio there. Nico Garcia in that 41. Shane Therian. Jeremy Miller back there as well. And looking down the list, some drivers that I think are going to move forward tonight. Brian Slaughter Jr. almost certainly. Brandon Bowie starts 31st. Eric Wineland 37th. And Casey Lakatos had an excellent run in the Truck Series race on Tuesday. Ended up with 5th, I believe. So he will start 40th in this one. Likely has an opportunity to go better. So I was hoping that that would capture that camera, but it did not. I was just doing another broadcast with GT World Challenge America, but I guess it still thinks VMix has my camera. But there's Eric Wineland getting set up. JT Poole relaxing for a moment before we go racing here tonight. And again, 130 laps, Hunter, with the past instances having no yellows ever. Is it worth planning your strategy around that, or do you think with 43 cars everyone's betting on at least having one?
I would assume that you would bet on having one with how many cars we've had in this field throughout the season, and all of a sudden just popping back up shows how fun of a track Homestead is to the drivers. But I would definitely plan at least one caution, although my tentative thought would be to just ride it out and try to make it a 2-stop race. I'll have to go and see what happens in tonight's race.
Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. And start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. With that, well, Hunter, it's just you and me tonight. Let's roll through the starting lineup here tonight for this event. We're going to kick things off on the front row with Connor Urashak in the number 12. He starts on pole right alongside James Scioli in the number 7.
On row 2, it's the 33 of David Weishart in 3rd, and alongside him, the 37 of Richard Thomas in 4th.
And starting 5th place is Jake Nichols in the 73. Cameron Hearn rolls off 6th in the number 4 Ford.
7th is going to be Matthew Bell in the 43, and alongside him, Justin Munsell starting P8 in the 6 car.
And Reinhardt starts in 9th in the number 3. John Furness just missed out by less than a thousandth of a second last week. He'll roll off 10th in that 28.
On 11th is the 10 of Alan Elwood, who came home 3rd in that race, and alongside him is the 26 of JT Poole, rolling off 12th.
Row 7, Travis Beckner, the number 27. He crashed out last week, is looking for redemption. Nico Garcia starts 14th in the number 41.
In the 15th, it's the 9 of Shane Tyrion, and alongside him, the 30 of Jeremy Miller in P16.
And 17th place, Justin Anasogak in the 88. Bryce Senesac, 18th in the 09 Toyota.
Got a Supra in 19th. It's the 16 of Tom Bourne, and alongside him is the Camaro of Eugenio Alonso in P20.
And 21st place, about halfway through the field, Greg Mitchell in the number 2 Ford Mustang, right alongside the 45 of Clayton Montgomery.
23rd, it's the 5 of Garrett Grant, and 24th is the 64 of Ed Robertson.
25th place, it's Jordan Martin in the 38. Bronson Stafford starts 26th in the 61.
27th is Ben Pierce in the 65, and alongside him, the 15 of Alex Bell in 28th.
29th place is A.J. Roderick in the number 56 Camaro. Alex Weaver, 30th in the 62.
31st is Brandon Bowie in the 23, and alongside him is Julio Villalobos Jr. in the 78, rolling off 32nd.
33rd is Steve Durham in the number 1. Mason Kane rolls off 34th in the 31 car.
35th is Brad Slaughter in the 8, and alongside him, Delonte Ballard, P36 in the 21 car.
Eric Wineland, disappointing qualifying effort, starts 37th in this one. Shane Abbey, 38th in the 84.
Spencer Brown, 39th, and Casey Lakatos in 40th.
And 41st place is Jeffrey Wilson in the 85. Chris Rabel, 42nd in the 29, and Danny Ware will start at the tail of the field in 43rd place. All right, give me a winner in this one, Hunter. Who you got?
It's hard to go against Connor Urashak after finally breaking through for his first win, but I'm going to stick with the 7 of James Scioli. He missed Monday's race. It's got the Rick's Hot Sauce colors and the South Beach Heat ready to go at Homestead.
All right, time to go racing here from Homestead-Miami Speedway in the Factor 195. We're watching it all live here on SimTV or on twitch.tv/Area iRacing. The 10th round of the season is underway at this 1.5 mile South Florida Mecca. Here we go into turn 1. That is a rush of 43 race cars out of turn 4. Scioli, Urashak side by side under the gantry to complete the first lap. Scioli edges ahead here. It was tight. There's a touchdown there at turn 1. Big slide for Urashak. He's still out of control.
There's a lot of touching going on early on here, and the 12 was familiar with that after last week's finish at Richmond, but right behind him, the 33 of Weissart closing in. Got the top 3 all within 2 car lengths of each other.
They were not playing games at all. There's Weissart, as you mentioned, the 33. He's going to go to the outside lane. A lot of drivers trying that already without a lot of rubber up there just yet to take the beating from the tires. Jake Nichols following Furness and Thomas, who are door-to-door. That's for 4th place. And a couple cars scattered in the background, but for the most part, single file up here at the front.
As you see the 28 of Furness to the outside of Richard Thomas trying to navigate his way into the 4th spot and prevent the 37 from Going up on the leaderboard, Jake Nichols closing in right behind him.
Yeah, I'm just surprised to see drivers already jump up to the outside lane so early. I think that could potentially wear out your tires a bit prematurely. But again, we had that big change to iRacing's oval racing competition a couple of months ago. And while the changes haven't made the racing look immediately different in the moment, the transition of the track over the course of the race is clearly different. And I don't know that we know a lot about what these cars are going to do tonight in the long run.
Yeah, if you're like the 10 of Alan Elwood, your endure or die situations come to the end of the season. Tracked up at 125, you're going to take that risk regardless. And like I said, he knows his way or two around this racetrack as he's looking to get around JT Poole in the 26, be just shy of the top 10.
JT started this race in 12th. He's still there. Following in behind Ryan Hart's in that number 3. Keep an eye on him. Again, it's a busy racetrack out there, and already 5 laps in, things are looking pretty promising. For the lead, though, they were hands-on early. Here comes Jurashak again to the inside of the 7.
Ellie trying to work that second groove in, going to get the run off the corner that time, and Jurashak's just going to tuck back in line. Meanwhile, Weishart just watching the sun fold in front of his windshield.
We had 2 drivers hit pit lane early. That team had just rolled.
Oh, car in the inside. Oh my gosh, it was that. They almost hit the inside wall coming into turn 1 for 56 of AJ Roderick.
Ooh, that scared the heck out of me. Go back and have a look at it. Tim Rat Market replay. I mentioned that Brad Slaughter Jr., Eric Weinlander about 18 seconds back. It was a scary moment. He did a good job caressing that thing back on track in such a high velocity area when it narrows down so much.
Yeah, still going up for the lead is Jurashak on the bottom. Skyley on the second groove, trying to get close to one another, and they are doing just that. And Skyley's just going to let him have it. So new leader on lap 7, the 12, Connor Jurashak.
It was starting from the pits for the 88 and 66. That's why. It was, it sounds like internet issues for at least the 66 car. But Jurashak takes the lead away, and these two didn't look like the racing between them was all that friendly, which was surprising. The body language from both of them, Hunter, tells me that this is intense between these two, perhaps because they know, at least Scioli knows, that Jurashak's got pace. If he can start stringing wins together, he could be a serious championship threat.
Yeah, Connor Jurashak's been on a tear all regular season and finally broke through for that first win of the season back at Richmond. Average finish was 11th. So it definitely due there, and only 2 finishes outside the top 30 for the 12, as you see the 09 of Senesac looking for that same luck that the green 12 has in his green 09.
It's kind of split 3 wide here out of turn 4. And already lap times are about a half a second off from where they were at the opening lap. That's a rate that is pretty similar to what we saw on Tuesday as far as tire wear is concerned. So I'd anticipate, long green flag runs if everyone can stay out of each other's way. That's a challenge. But maybe the strategy around this can involve a lot of under and overcut strategy throughout the evening. But it feels almost impossible to have a 130 lap race at a track like this with this many cars and not have at least one. But so far they've gotten through the most dangerous part of the race right at the start.
Yeah, but then we're going to get into the later stages, and you already mentioned we're just crossing through lap 10. The lap times are a half second off, and who knows what they're going to be in 10 laps from now on lap 20, and some of these guys are going to be fighting for grip, whether they're on the bottom, middle, or the top, and going to get a lot of rear tire spin, especially on corner exit of turn 4. That could be an issue tonight, as Greg Mitchell starting all the way back in 21st, up 5 spots, trying to work his way towards the top 10, as Burness moves up to 2nd, Skyley down to 3rd.
Is this 28 getting hot at the right time? I mean, we saw him just miss a win last week at Richmond, but is this a sign of things to come? We've seen the 28 up front a lot more lately. And while he has never been, set the world on fire amazing this season, you can't ignore when someone has this many consecutive runs up towards the front here.
That indeed, after his 42nd place finish back in Atlanta, average finish of 5th in his next 5 races, with the best coming from last week at Richmond, but he is definitely heating up at the right time, and he's good in points, so it's just a matter of getting those wins for the 28 of Furnace, and I feel like we could have another fantastic finish here at Homestead. Still early on, though, as the 6 of Munsell looks to hang on to 7th from Cameron Hearn.
Down the back straightaway here. He started 8th. He's up 1 spot. But now back to where he started, just that easy. There's Jake Nichols ahead. We haven't really seen the 73, move forward either. He's kind of been stuck in place, which is a bit surprising. Here comes John Furnace for the lead, by the way, bottom of the screen, challenging for the top spot.
Picking up right where we left off last week with Furnace this time on the outside and Euroshak on the inside, door-to-door for the lead, only on lap 13 here at Homestead-Miami, but the run on the outside going to prevail for Furnace, and it looks like he'll have it for the moment, although Euroshak not going to give it up that easy.
Well, he's going to have to, unfortunately, and that's going to bring Skyley right back to him. Alan Elwood's fighting a good fight up top there as well. All the way up against that outside wall. Trying to find some kind of advantage, and there's Richard Thomas in 37. Decent qualifying effort tonight, starting 4th, but doesn't seem like in the early stages he's been able to cling to it as much as he would like.
Yeah, he's about to be under attack from Nichols on the outside. Got a good run off the corner, did the 73, and he might bring the 4 of Hearn with him, unless Thomas can close the gap and get in between the two, but that's not going to work. So move Nichols up to the top 5, and Thomas still under attack from the 4 of Hearn.
JT Poole following a little 3 wide here. Brian Hartz was in the middle, now he's on the top as JT pulls even with Elwood, and Elwood pulls even with Poole. A lot more bottom feeders early in the going, but I think, is that Weishart that's moved up to the top? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Towards the later stages of the run, you're going to see more guys go to that outside, build more heat in the tire, get more of a groove, and I think we're seeing just that. And right behind him, the 73 Nichols actually went to the top for 3 and 4, which interesting strategy if this is the case for Weishart to run top in 1 and 2 and bottom in 3 and 4. But behind Nichols, though, still doing it for 6th is Hearn, trying to make that outside lane work.
The 28 and 12 for a moment, they were side by side, reliving last week. That clip from Twitch went viral. Was it almost 40,000 views in a couple of days of that 0-0-0 finish? That is probably the most viral social media clip that I had ever been a part of, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely one to keep in the memory books, or the record books too, for that matter. It might be in a iRacing compilation video towards the end of the month or week. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to figure out when and where that's gonna take place, but keep an eye on the iRacing YouTube channel.
Down the back straightaway here, lap 17 of 130. And John Furnace leads by about 0.3 of a second. Just clicking laps off. We are now over a second and a third slower than we were at the start. And this is going to open up so many strategies tonight when you have...
Oh my gosh, Alan Elwood had a handful coming out of turn 4 and almost came across the nose of the driver right behind him. That's the 30 of Jeremy Miller.
Now watch this. Whoa. That could have ended badly. I don't think Miller was stoked about that either. I just don't think Alan had a lot of choice in the matter once it started walking up the hill on him.
Yeah, this is outside the top 10 as Elwood was trying to stay in touch with JT Poole, has fallen a few positions back since then. Currently battling for 14th with himself and the 2 of Greg Mitchell trying to get in, but now 13th on the horizon for the 10 of Elwood, as the 30 of Miller is low into turn 1 with the 2 of Mitchell.
Mitchell throttling up low, and we're already seeing, I think, within the first 20 laps that you can run wherever you want on this racetrack and find some pace, but I don't know that we've seen the outcome of what running those different lines will mean. I don't know if any of the drivers know it either yet. The track is going to continue to be hot. It's 135 degrees hotter than it was at the start of the race, so it's going to wear out the rubber quite a bit. And you might want to pit way before your tank of fuel runs out, but you have to keep the big picture in mind.
Yeah, I need to keep the big picture in mind because of the past history at this place where we have yet to have a single caution at all for these types of race cars. But it could all change today. We'll just have to wait and see as Poole is trying to hold on to 10th from the 43 Matthew Bell.
You just throw the bird up at Bell out of turn 2 right when we switched. I thought I caught him doing that.
Either that or he was holding his ones up.
Yeah, not that Bell can see that, but makes him feel better as a driver. Doesn't look super stoked, does he? Normally he's pretty thrilled to be at a low grip racetrack, but tonight he does not seem to be all that happy.
It's all about car control at this place and getting towards the end of the regular season. Going to want to maximize how many positions you can move up in the regular season points, because there are bonus points to head into the playoffs, and especially at the top of the driver standings where I believe it's 15 bonus points, which currently held by Jake Nichols, and Scioli is second, and oh my gosh, third is Tyrion, and fourth is Euroshack. But those three are all separated by 4 points, second, third, and fourth. Meanwhile, Nichols has a 33-point cushion. So if the seventh Scioli wants to have any shot at claiming the driver's title, gonna have to make it up here in tonight's race and the next two.
Cameron Hearn and Ryan Hartz, that's for 7th, and then Justin Munsell just behind in the 6th. And behind them, a couple seconds behind, is Travis Beckner in the 27. He started this race in 13th. Been slow progress so far, but progress nonetheless. Always a threat, especially when you give me a late race restart. It's hard to pick anybody but Travis as a favorite. We never picked our favorites, by the way, Hunter. We probably should do that now.
No, I did. I did the 7 Scioli.
Oh, well, I'm going to take the 28. I know he's losing the lead right now, but I just think he's too hot, too much to not get me a good points night tonight.
It was almost a commentator's curse there. He's flying back on the outside.
Yeah, do me proud, John. Still off side by side into 1, and this is bringing Scioli back. The 7 is going to be really good on the long run, and I think we all knew that. But the question is, is it just going to be one of those races that Scioli can get track position and just sprint off into the sunset? Because that's what he typically does at races that go this green this long.
Well, last time we were here, he led 87 laps at the 130, and the first time he won back in Season 2, which was when we held the championship finale here, he took the lead with about 10 to go and got a late pass at the very end. But we might see the latter of those two with a long dominating run that we are typically used to seeing from the 7 of Scioli, as he's looking to take second away from Furness as Euroshack tries to drive away with the lead.
Well, one example each of a Chevrolet, Toyota, and Ford in the top 3 right now. Then the Toyota of Nichols and the Chevy of Weishart. And Nichols up top, Weishart to the bottom. And here's John Furness finally conceding second place. And that might be the last he sees of Scioli for a while, based on how quickly Scioli is moving through the field now that the tires have wear on them, as we go back to watching Nichols and Weishart ride the different rims around here at Homestead.
Yeah, I think these two are altering their approaches in the turns, where you'll see the different side of the 73 and the 33 and 3 and 4. Kind of opposite of what we saw earlier on, but I feel like they're going to both run the bottom here. So Nichols trying to top line in 1 and 2, while Weishart's just keeping it on the bottom all the way around. But behind them, you see the 30 of Jeremy Miller trying to pass the 2 of Greg Mitchell on the racetrack for 12th. And the 2's going to settle back in line behind the 30.
Mason Kane coming down pit lane. And so is Alan Elwood. Now, Kane looks like he's got some damage. And he's sliding out of turn 4. And he might have been in the fence. That might have brought him down here early. I don't know why Elwood is on pit road, but Kane had been in the wall already. You see the damage. Let's see if we can go back and spot. That's all right this time, so maybe it was out of turn 4. Maybe center of 1 and 2.
An odd one. He might have had some steering issues.
Oh, right there. Loose into 1, walks it up the hill, and pow! Into the wall. That will take Mason Kane out. He's done for the night. Alan Elwood coming back on the racetrack. Pit stop at lap 28. Full 4-tire stop. Maybe just running this race in reverse. this is that strategy that we would talk about, Hunter. This is assuming the race is going to go green from start to finish. He is planning for a window of when he can stop last.
And last time we were here, he finished second, as well, that might have opened the door for more people to come in and make an early pit stop. The 16 of Tom Bourne is in.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be some drivers that are going to split this every 30 laps, potentially. Again, you can go longer on fuel, but I don't think that you're going to care a whole lot about your fuel tank when your car is driving there. Clock's full of trash after about 35, 40 laps. Matthew Bell, Nico Garcia, Bryce Senesac. This is for 14th place. And the Alan Elwood car is slicing and dicing through this and feels like Superman in all of this. Should be lapping about 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody he's around.
Yeah, anytime you're on new tires on the racetracks such as Homestead, where it's all about tire wear and how new your tires are compared to how old they are. When you're on new tires, it feels like you're playing on easy mode on a NASCAR video game. That's how much of an advantage it is to have tires here rather than just running out on old tires, as most of these guys are about to be 30 laps in, and see Furness trying to hold back the 73 Jake Nichols for third.
Justin Anasogak is down on pit lane. He's made his stop and is now leaving the box. You watch Furness get right up against that outside wall. Cameron Hearn hits pit lane in the 4. And started 6th, though he's really the first of one of the drivers that was front running to make their stop.
Yeah, interesting strategy calls we'll be seeing all night long. Some of these guys are going to go the distance, and some are going to try and split it up like the 4 of Hearn, and following the tire tracks of the 10 of Elwood as he's trying to make his way back towards the leaders and getting a lap back. But in the meantime, we're on board with Weishart.
Yeah, Ben Pierce also coming to pit lane. This is one of those tracks and one of those nights that I would definitely consider the more pit stop strategy. I think that there's so much speed to be had that you could, and the race is really long. This is a long, long race for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series, and I think it's not because of the number of laps or the mileage, it's because the laps are slow because of the low grip surface. We would typically be running a 1.5 mile track nearly 5 to 7 seconds faster than this, so it makes the race very long. You have a long race that goes green where the tire wear is high. Absolutely consider pitting more times and just running the thing flat out instead of worrying about saving tires every lap of the race. I'd be on team more pit stops for sure, but we have yet to see how it'll pan out.
As one of the guys coming through with new tires, Elwood, you see working through 4th place Jake Nichols, about to go by 3rd place John Furness, and he will probably get a lap back under green within the next 2 laps here. Meanwhile, you see to the outside of Greg Mitchell is the 6 of Justin Munsell, who you mentioned he came in and pitted earlier. Big, I'm looking here at the points. If Mason Kane, well, he's out. If Elwood and Munsell don't have a bad finish, like say outside of the top 30, they're going to be ahead of Mason Kane in points. Both of them will be. As, oh my goodness, what we got going on here? A couple of bells, and oh, that is Grant. That's sideways in turn 2.
Yeah, that was pretty physical there for a moment. Nico Garcia tank slapped off the fence in the background, but 2 and 3 wide in the mid 11 to 20 mark here. Shane Therian in the 9, that's that red car in the rear view. So we've had about 5 cars pit. It's not as many as I thought we would see once those floodgates open. So otherwise, I'm trying to think of the number to shoot for. Halfway gets you to lap, Alex Weaver's on pit lane, halfway gets you to lap 65. I don't think you're not going to go 65 laps, so otherwise you'd split it into thirds. And what's 1/3 of 130?
I think that's around the 42 to 43, lap 43.
Yeah, so that would take you another 7 or 8 laps, and then that's when I would expect to see the majority of drivers come to pit road. Otherwise, you'd make an additional pit stop by splitting it into 4, and you'd be pitting roughly every 30 to 32 laps.
It's going to be hurting my brain here the later in the runs we go.
Yeah, well, here's what'll help
everyone
you.
else's strategy.
So we've got number of pit stops as a data point, which will be helpful in the short term. And we've also got stint length as well. This will be the one that we'll probably have up most of the time after a pit stop sequence. That's the number of laps the driver has spent since they have last come to pit road. So this should help keep things straight. Nico Garcia is going to hit pit lane. We also heard that Alex Weaver had some contact. He is now out of the race, and it sounds like it was into the barrels. Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say he from that shot we cut to, he looked in an awkward position with some smoke. You see him trying to slow it down and make it a pit speed. Oh yeah, just lost it. Oh, might have scraped the barrels. Yep, right rear, then into the pit wall, and then he called it a night.
Yeah, and that's a frustrating way to go out. And it didn't used to happen so much back when you had to use the pit entry lane that's down there in 3 and 4, but that's not required anymore here in iRacing. This is getting exciting behind John Furness. Look out. Tom Bourne's on fresh tires, and whoever just stuck past him on the inside is also on fresh tires. Justin Anasogak in the 88.
Yeah, I don't think we get said enough about how tough it is to get on the pit road here. This is one of the more difficult tracks, as we see Weishart trying to do so. No, he's just minding his own business on the bottom. But this track, Las Vegas and Homestead, Darlington, I think those are the toughest tracks to get on and off the pit road.
James Scioli dropping off of my timing screen, Hunter.
Uh-oh.
And it looks to be like it could be an internet issue for the 7. This is not what he, well, I guess this isn't the Truck Series where he needs the wins, but not what he needed tonight. I think it's lasting long enough it might be permanent.
Well, if that's the case, then that means we're in due for a new winner here, potentially, unless the 4 of Hearn comes through with his second win at this track. But won the last 2 races here, the 7 Scioli did, and have to see if he can come back from this or if there'll be permanent damage on the 7 for the night.
He did come back in, but scored a lap down. So it's not as disastrous as being disconnected, but that is, well, not getting better. That is a shame. Connor Ierschak hits lap 40, and he's going to stay on the racetrack again. So a few more laps, we could expect to see some more. Garrett Grant is on and off of pit lane. And now the 7 actually did drop, unfortunately. There's Greg Mitchell in the background, and he is on pit road. So starting the second round of floodgates here, lap 41.
Yeah, this one we should begin the rest of the guys coming down and see some guys try to push it to lap 50, and then they can try to push it to 100 and then get 30 laps in on the end of that stint. But I would expect most of the guys to come in between now and lap 49.
Nice livery that Jordan Martin's got. I don't recall this iRacing livery. It looks good.
Running good, too, all the way up from 25th into 13th.
Yeah, and not that many people have come to pit lane, so some of this has been natural progress. Alex Bell just behind him. Started his race in 28th. He's up to 12th now, so both these drivers moving forward. Alex Bell, did you hear that? The clutch
Shifting.
was in.
Oh, no. Clutch,
so
yeah.
he is trying to save some fuel, as Justin Munsell and Richard Thomas are also on pit lane. They were out of the top 10, so expect to see the rest of the field very shortly.
Not a bad idea here, especially with the progressive banking of 20 degrees in the turns. Not a good thing to coast the car going in, get that apex, and then smash the throttle back in. So 28 of Furness. He's down in 5th. Just lost 4th to Ryan Hartz, and now we're going to try and cross him over in turn 3.
Yeah, I don't know that John's got the best long run pace of anybody here, but Ryan Hartz is moving forward nicely.
Oh!
That was a real big push. I don't think John's got the tire, and he's going to immediately hit pit lane and come get his first set of tires for the night, right around lap 45. This is roughly the 1/3 mark of this race.
It's a strategy that most guys are going to go with, and L9 and Senesac might be down pit road too, but Brandon Bowie up from 31st into 16th, going to be 15th now, but strong climb for the 23.
And making okay progress. I think some of these spots have been because of some pit sequence things, but moving on the right direction at least. And I I'd say probably about 45% of the field has made a pit stop so far. And just to keep things straight, here you are again with those that have pit versus those that have not. And basically everyone in the top 15 has yet to make a stop.
Also going to want to be careful not to speed on here either, as mentioned. That banking going all the way from some guys top to bottom, or even from middle to bottom, that steep transition from the banking onto the flat part of the racetrack and then trying to woe the car down. We already saw Alex Weaver have an issue getting into that. And happened in real life too, even with Kyle Larson. Guys trying to speed and get as much as they can before they hit the commitment line, and they end up clipping the barrel. So always a possibility here, and you don't want to speed on pit exit. That's probably the worst feeling, rather than speeding in, is speeding out.
Speeding on exit is absolutely preventable. Speeding on entry, there are times when circumstances, as Jurasek hits pit lane from the lead, circumstances kind of create a scenario where you can run in hot, but leaving pit lane is only ever your fault, which makes it hurt that much more. The thing we should also note at lap 47 here is we've gone green for 47 laps with a 43-car field. I would not expect that we get a yellow tonight based on that. The cars don't even seem all that out of control. So, adjust your strategies as you see fit, but I would not be comfortable.
Might be happening here. Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to stop talking. Nico Garcia splitting the difference 3 wide there. I guess I wouldn't be comfortable relying on a yellow to save me. And what my point was is if you speed, your night is over.
Yeah, there's little to no room for error, especially at a track like Homestead. And you mentioned no yellows. No yellow tonight so far, and no yellow ever in area Pro Series history at this track.
Crazy stat, by the way.
Yeah, and the fields have only gotten bigger since season 1, too. So it's pretty impressive that we've still yet to have a caution for incident or for anything here at Homestead.
Yeah, the strategy is going to be really hard to follow tonight, so we'll try to do our best to keep up with it. Cameron Hearn is about to cycle to the lead as soon as Alex Bell pits. And the driver that was leading before, the 12, the 12 is currently scored 14th.
Bless you. I don't know if
I know I muted on the Discord side. Or sorry, the OBS side. The buttons are in 2 different places, so it's hard to reach them both in time. So I've wanted a hardware mute button for a very long time, but I have not yet gotten one. I want one of those fancy broadcaster consoles. If you've ever seen them, like you're watching a sports game and you see the commentators, they got a big metal box in front of them, and all it does is has 2 buttons, one that's cough and one that's talkback, and they're like $800 because they're very fancy inside and have networking and stuff. And I want one, but they're a lot of money.
Very expensive buttons.
Yes, indeed. So Alex Bell leads at lap 50. For now, Cameron Hearn is chasing him down in the rear view here. So Cameron is leading by 1.2 over Alan Elwood. And again, the driver that would cycle back as it stands after everything, Jurasek's 11th, currently about 14 seconds off of the lead. So he will run down the 4, but the question is how quickly. About a second and a half a lap right now.
Only time will tell if he can get back to Hearn before he makes his next pit stop, or if Hearn pits before then. But this was for the time being, good strategy call from the 4 of Hearn and the 10 of Elwood, even the 9 of Tyrion as well. They'll be in the podium positions after the 15 of Bell pits, or when they get around him, which could be right about now. You see the 4 of Hearn to the outside, looking for the lead from Alex Bell on the front stretch.
Won't quite get it that lap, but now off into turn 1, Cameron Hearn will take the lead away. And he does have fresher tires than Alan Elwood, so Elwood probably came in a bit too soon. But he burned up all the good. He's basically almost at the tail end of another run. He's been out on track for 25 laps since his pit stop, Hunter, so he's almost to a second pit stop sequence.
Yeah, that's It'll be interesting to see how long he goes on this run, because I don't think you could go every 25 laps, but maybe you could stretch it to 40 laps on this run.
Yeah, I think that's probably the plan. They've hit it like roughly lap 30 to 33 on that opening stint. Elwood, I think, might have been right on the money, right around lap 27 to 30. So you're not going to do that every time. You'll probably stretch this next one to at least 35 to 40 laps, and then beyond that, I don't know if there's much worth doing. We should note that Casey Lakatos is still on track, and this is something to note for later. Wrong button. Look at the timing and scoring screen. Currently scored 23rd. He has been on track for 53 laps since the start of the race. So, should we get down to lap 80 or so, know that that's when you can make it to the end on fuel.
Yeah, it's always good to know, because someone tries to do the fuel run. They go all the way till the fuel runs out, or they just try saving it as much as they can, and it's just going to be key for guys like Cameron Hearn, or maybe later in the race John Furness, David Weishart. I was going to say James Skiley, RIP, that run from the 7 car, but Jake Nichols could help for those guys. And this guy went 60 laps on a tank of fuel. Oh, okay, so I don't need to pit anymore.
Yeah, 54 laps still. Casey Lakatos is still making circulations. I'm not sure how much fuel he's saving, but if you can go at least 50 laps, that means that you can make your final stop in under 25 laps, which means that you could, again, you could just make this last run very long if you wanted to. I just don't know how many drivers are going to choose that on purpose. Here's Richard Thomas making his way by Ben Pierce in the 65. I haven't talked a lot about Ben tonight. Started 27th. And a little bit on the backhanded strategy at the moment. You can see the rear bumper missing off that car.
Off that, and Lakatos was missing his rear bumper too when we cut to him. Not sure what happened with those two. Might have been from the Mazda race, if you recall, from earlier today at Daytona.
I'll share a little inside baseball with you. Toyota GR Cup North America Series that I announce for SRO Motorsports. You can sit in on the drivers' meetings there. And they made it very clear in the first drivers' meeting that I attended that the goal was to not rip up bodywork every race and make a better example for what is supposed to be a grassroots level series. And it always entertains me. The Mazda Cup Series is so good, but it always makes me giggle when they frame it as a cost-effective series, because it's not. You go through cars like candy over there.
Oh, yeah. At one point, there were the top 3 running in that race were all with a piece of their bumper flying, whether it was all the way off or halfway off. It was a great race and great finish.
I know a guy that runs in that series. I know a couple of them actually, but one of them I know has gone through 4 chassis in 2 years.
Wow.
I think we only replaced 3 in GR Cup last year. So, just saying. But this backside, you cannot unglue these two. They are just magnetized to each other, aren't they?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. And looking through the area iRacing shop, the #1 most selling merch was a T-shirt that says "Stop the Steal" in reference to the 28 of Furnace.
That was good. And going by Elwood here. This is a battle now for second. So Hearn's right at the end of his 30-lap stint, if it was only going to be 30. He's at lap 28 right now, and he's going to get past in the next probably 2 or 3 laps. Maybe this is working out well for him. Alex Bell hits pit lane at 59 laps on his stint. Casey Lakatos is lap 58.
Close to 60 laps for a tank of fuel is what I'm hearing. With saving.
With saving. I don't know the utility of it necessarily. If you can make that work for you, then so be it. I just think the popular choice is generally the correct choice. A lot of smart people that do the math on this.
Well, in the end, it could work out for some guys if you're, Casey Mears or Austin Dillon in the Coke 600.
Yeah.
It has happened before, and, I mean, I'm still thinking all the way back to the preseason at Daytona where Casey Lakatos won. It was a different car. It was an ARCA car, but Nonetheless, won at Daytona on fuel mileage, which that doesn't sound right at all, and on fumes. He had 0 fuel in the car. Still can't get over that he did that.
Travis Beckner 3 wide around the outside of Shane Theory, and he's up to 8th place. Good progress here for the 27. And on a fairly advantageous strategy, he's one of the drivers that has been to pit lane the most recently. AC Lakatos starts his 60th lap. And actually, Alex Bell never came to pit lane. He was just driving slowly. He is on lap 61. I think we're about to see a pass for the lead. Urashak's got a 6/10 advantage over Hearn, but not for... Well, actually, sorry, the pass has already happened. Urashak went by Hearn already, and Furness is about to get there as well.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned this, but the last time we were here, Cameron Hearn was on a completely different setup at Homestead, where he was, along with quite a few others from area, down in Florida, right around, actually it was Daytona for the Cup Series, and he was on a different setup that Brad Slaughter brought in, and he wasn't competitive at all, but back at his home and with his proper setup, even though he's on a different strategy, still with a good run inside the top 5, currently holding 3rd from Weishart, who is now closing in and about to make the pass on.
Alan Elwood, Brian Hart's trading spots back here. 10th to 11th. And we are very quickly approaching halfway. And again, we have had no interruptions on this race. The temperature has fluctuated between 125 and 130 on the racetrack. Here comes Elwood now for his 2nd stop of the night. 36 laps into his stint. Whoa. Barely makes it in.
Saw that coming from a mile away, the 10 coming down the pit road. As soon as I saw how wide he was going in 3 and 4, I was like, yep, might be making it down the pit road, and might as well. He was on, what, 35, maybe 36 laps on this stint, and wasn't going to get any better, so decided to stop the bleeding, and who knows, maybe, well, now he's not really in that window to stretch it on fuel, but still another pit stop on the horizon for the 10 of Elwood.
Yeah, 36 laps on the stint for him. Here's Jake Nichols and Justin Munsell and JT Poole. A little scrap back here for position as Cameron Hearn has peeled off again, and it's going to be almost constant pit stops for the next 65 laps, I think, based on how the strategy is played out. It's tough to keep up with. Again, we'll do our best.
Yeah. It's just going to be this carousel of cars coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Might be a few laps of bliss, quiet down on the pit lane, but then it'll just go back to cars coming in and pitting. Then we're about to reach halfway.
Yeah, this time through, Connor Urashak is going to cross halfway done with this race. He has led 32 laps. John Furness has led 11. And Weishart has led none, but he is coming with a head of steam here. All the while, though, this is the good battle between Beckner, Nichols, JT Poole.
Yep, all inside the top 5 for the most part, and right outside that top 5 is JT Poole, and on board with him now as he focuses in on the 2, and going to be another car in the frame. I think that's Cameron Hearn, so he's going to drive away.
Yeah, brand new fresh tires on a 4-stopper versus a 3-stopper. And look at the 27. Took the elevator top to bottom there in 3 and 4. JT's going to try to shoot this gap. I don't know how much I would be willing to stick that car in there, but Nichols will sprint away for the time being.
Yeah, Poole will take that to the outside. Don't think he'd risk 3 wide there, but he's going to get around teammate Beckner there, so move the 26 up to 5th, and Beckner down in the 6th. P6 on the racetrack, as Hartz is the next one closest to Beckner, and there you see the speedy 10 of Elwood on the new tires.
Yeah, just for reference, his last lap, 153 miles an hour average. His best lap is 154.808. The cars that he's going by, average speed of 148.9. So big speed differences here as we continue to work our way through. My bookmarks tab only has 2 bookmarks. The start of the race and A.J. Roderick going for that big slide on lap 6. But there has not been a lot of drama since then as far as on-track interactions. And that means that we've been green for a very long time. And closing in on 60 laps to go. Weishart in the wall there a little bit in 1 and 2.
I have to give it a smooch every now and then. It gets a little lonely up there, but yeah, impressive run here from the 33 of Weishart, and he was not a fan of this setup, and I'm not sure if he was even on the right setup, but he wasn't happy with the car. But those that always complain always seem to find their way towards the front, and just proves that they can prevail even when they've got the hardest obstacles thrown at them, as we see Senesac looking for 10th from the 5 of Garrett Grant. A couple of guys that need some good runs in order to possibly make a run at the playoffs.
Yeah, Senesac's doing a nice job tonight. Just carving his way forward slowly but steadily. By the way, the 8 just decided to park his car, again, potentially from that pit lane speeding violation. I pointed out that your race is effectively over when you get that speeding penalty without yellows on the horizon. Well, without yellows likely on the horizon, there's just not an easy way to come back from that. And it sounds like David Weishart did 30 laps on the Richmond setup, and that's why he said it drove so bad.
It sounded like he was on the wrong setup, but I kind of drowned it out with my own music, so I didn't know exactly what the issue was. But it's on the right setup now and on the right path forward, trying to take second away from Furness.
Yeah, he actually could be a threat to win this race. Look at Jake there and drive right through the shot. He could be on a strategy to win because he is matching Yurashak's pace. And any slight mistake by that 12, it's game over. But between the 28 and the 12, these two drivers are both getting hot at the right time. Obviously, we saw them effectively tie at Richmond last week. If the 12 were to win another race, or if the 28 were to snag this one, both of them are going to be championship competitors alongside James Scioli.
Yeah, and Euroshak, this is going to be big for him in the points, and Tyrion as well, as he is... Oh, where is the 9? Is he outside the top 10? Yeah, he is. I'm trying to find where he is on the racetrack.
The 9 is down in 29th.
Oh.
And in turn 1 here.
He must have recently come down pit road, but
yes,
this could be big for Euroshak. He entered this race 4th in the driver's standings. Scioli has internet issues; he's out. Nichols still has a 37-point gap to Euroshak in the points, but Euroshak rallies off a couple wins here and there. Like, say, he wins again tonight, and then he wins next week at IRP. He could close that gap to Nichols for the driver's standings, and those 15 bonus points could be his heading into the playoffs, and snatching him right at the very end from Jake Nichols, as Nichols only has 1 win on the season, so does Euroshak, but it could add up in the very end as we see the 33 of Weishart trying to find his way around the 28 again.
28's got a classic looking livery on it. If you'd like one like it, you can head over to simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. And John Furness with DE Excavating on the side there is trying to dig away at any advantage that Euroshak has, but he had to fight David Weishart. Weishart is kind of stalled here fighting this 28, which is a bit concerning. 28's got pace. The 33 is a little bit better, but not better enough to dispatch him quickly.
Trying to find any opening he can on that bottom to get a good run off the turn. He's going to have a nice one here. Not sure if it's going to carry over into turn 3 where he can make a move to the inside, as they're both kind of running that bottom part of the racetrack, but we're seeing he's still... First is leaving a little bit of gap on that bottom, but not enough to where the 33 of Weishart can dive down in and make a move.
We'll have to try that one all over again. Hunter Yurashak, though, setting the pace. 3.5 seconds clear of the field at the moment. And about back from Furness to Weishart. No other major battles that are really on fire right now. Let's check a little bit deeper in the field, though. Delonte Ballard in the 21. Started 36th, running 25th. Progress is progress. Tom Bourne peels off to pit lane on the right side of the screen, and all chasing Steve Durham here. Started 33rd, running 23rd.
Good progress for the 1. Closer to that top 20.
Now we are 53 laps away from the end of this race. If you were to pit right now, you could make it from here. But I reckon that we'll see most of the field wait another 10, 15 laps before they make their stop.
Yeah, I would say so. That you pit now, and you can try to stretch it to the very end if you want to do that, or run a few more laps here, then put some tires on and.
Oh, look out!
Oh boy, the one and Rabel nearly creating a caution. Would have been the first caution for the Pro Series, but somehow they keep it straight. Actually, that's not even that's the 21 of Delonte Ballard.
Yeah, that was really dicey there. That ends up on the bookmarks. Have a look at this down into turn 1. I think the 1 gets loose first, and then Delonte Ballard not able to check up in time right here. Watch the 1 slows up, yaws sideways. The 21 tags him, and they both went for a big wiggle. And they got it woed out.
Wow, we almost had history in back-to-back weeks here for area.
It would change the complexion of this race a ton if we had a yellow at this stage. Everyone's on such wildly different strategies. It would really mix things up. It would definitely mix things up mid-pit cycle. We kind of are, but we're only between the first and second group of hitters, not in between a individual group. Look at Jake Nichols making quick work of Weishart there, and now setting his sights on John Furness.
Yeah, Jake Nichols is one that masters the long run with the tire preservation on that 73 machine in the Cup Series we've been familiar with, and taking it here to the Pro Series, up in the podium spot, and looking to go one spot higher, trying to get around the 28 of Furness, but Weishart continuing to fight on that bottom.
And Nichols is going to have a big head of steam here. He'll drive it down to the inside in turn 3 and hope that he clears the 28. And he is clear, but now when he slides up, the 28's going to have the run. I don't know if he's got a lot of tire left to do anything with it, though.
Could be enough to close up on the bumper. Might dive down low. Here he is. Furness low. Nichols going to keep running that high line or that Larson line, getting up close to that wall.
Yeah, once you get here...
And it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, once you get here and you're on the bottom on defense, it's kind of game over. If you're on the top on defense, you have a chance to save it. But now, once you have to drop to the bottom to go by on that over-under, it doesn't normally work out. Bryce Senesac into the box. Potentially a last stop of the day for Senesac. 37 laps on this run, he would have to go 50. That's what has me confused. I don't know that I would have my runs that far offset as far as lap count. I'd like them all to be relatively close. So 78's in the wall. That's Julio Villalobos Jr. But he will keep the car straight and will carry on. And just to keep everyone...
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I agree. I don't know if I would try to push it all the way to the end now if I have the opportunity to do so. Like if you're a Shackleton, I don't know if I'd push it 50 laps when I could go another 10, 15 laps on my run and then make it a shorter stint and not have to use as much tire at the very end. Where, we can still get a late race caution, even though we have yet to see a caution here at this track at all for the Pro Series, but the possibility of it still looms even if it's 0.01%.
Yeah, and just noting when we're expecting most of the drivers to hit pit lane. You see the laps in stint for the front runners between 36 and 40 laps. We're about 46 laps to go, 47 laps to go this time through. So, again, next 5 to 8 laps is when I'd expect to see most cars on pit lane. We could see some pit sooner than later, but to split that run right down the middle between the next 5 and 8 laps, depending on when you pit previously. Here's Greg Mitchell in the 2. We've been kind of following his progress loosely tonight. Started 21st up to 8th. And he's got some of the oldest tires in the top 10, only second to Garrett Grant. But sitting in a really good spot, actually, to be 8th at this moment. Because he's on a similar strategy to those up front and should be able to cling to this top 10 if all things continue as is.
Yeah, his last top 10 finish was back in Atlanta, and since then, he's coming down pit road now, but since then he's had finishes outside the top 10 in 5 straight races, with the closest being the 13th at the Charlotte Roval. But looking to get back on the right track is the 2 of Mitchell, because he is close to that top 12 in the point standings, and that means you're in if you're in the top 12. But we look back, and you see Ben Pearson and Alex Bell duking it out for position on track.
Yeah, just to note that Mitchell was splitting this into very even 45-lap runs at the end. So 45 laps into his run, 45 laps to go. David Weishart is going to do the same. Well, he's only 38 laps into his run, but 45 to go is his marker to come to pit road for his final stop of the night. And Yurashak's lead is actually shrinking quite quickly to Jake Nichols. 73 has chunked out nearly 2 seconds on Yurashak the last couple of laps.
Well, his teammate Seth Knowles went to the Twitch chat and said, Jake running third, shaking my head, watched. So maybe that had a little something to do with it. And maybe, just maybe, when I brought up that Nichols could lose the regular season points title if Yurashak continues to win, maybe that had a little something to do with it too. But yeah, he has definitely closed the gap quite a bit. About a second since we last checked in on him.
Yeah, flying right now. And there's only 1 lap difference in their tires, so that's all comes down to usage, I think, between Yurashak and Nichols. But the track is hot today, almost as hot as Rick's Hot Sauce. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home that $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And pit stops in pit lane are getting busy. There's JT Poole down there. Ryan Hartz is down there. Travis Beckner, 38.
Is that Jeremy Miller back there? Might have been speeding.
Didn't get a great look at it, but I will do my best to find it. It does look like there was coming down the pit lane.
Got a lot of tire lockup here.
He got down. I think he got down to the speed, but he did lock him up quite big down there on the entrance. And here comes Jake Nichols. And he's undercutting Yurashak. That is surprising to me because he was gaining on him, Hunter. That's a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy there too. But I guess if he's best suited for the longer run, then it might work out for the 73 Jake Nichols as long as he doesn't have any issue. And if you're the 12 of Yurashak, might come in and pit now, and I think that's what he's doing with how high he's running.
Oh, look out!
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that could have been real bad there. Weishart almost clobbered the back of Yurashak, but as soon as he had word that Nichols was pitting, he had to make the move now.
Yeah, he was slowing down and tracking up the racetrack and cutting down, and then Weishart, he had to lift. I think if he hadn't, there might have been contact there. That was really dicey.
Trying to prevent the 73 from undercutting, and saw something similar to this with Alanella. Whenever they make that arc in the middle of the turns, you know they're coming down the pit road, and almost spelled disaster there for himself and the 33 of Weishart.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse than it was, but Yurashak's on pit lane getting tires. Cameron Hearn still owes us a pit stop. I wonder when he will make his last stop. I thought I liked this multiple stop situation, but it all comes down to kind of where he's going to land after that final stop. And do you just take right sides and try to hurry it up a little bit, or do you need all 4 tires to make the speed?
Would probably do right sides only if the 4. Depending on where you're running on the racetrack, if you're running more towards the outside like he is right now, I would definitely do right sides. But if that bottom suits you best, you probably might want to go on the left sides. But yeah, we'll have to see. 40 to go here, and a lot of different strategies that can play out. And looky here, this could be the battle for the win. The 12 and the 73, close nose and tail on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think Jake Nichols is in a really good spot here. He's only got 1 lap older tires than Yurashak, but that long run pace was much better for Nichols. So he's kind of got Yurashak by the neck. They got to finish the next 38 laps though without running into anybody or anything.
Yeah, you expect the unexpected here in the Area Pro Series. Florida State Builders Area Pro Series, that is. But yeah, still plenty of laps left to go as the 12 of Yurashak tries to bob and weave through lap traffic of Greg Mitchell and the 09 of, well, actually not even lap traffic. This is just battle for position on the racetrack. It's just these guys, feels like they're racing in lap traffic when you got fresher tires.
Yeah, there's the 09 Bryce Senesek trying to cling to a spot here. Greg Mitchell's in the middle of this. Look at this mess out of turn 4.
Yeah, Nichols is in a tough spot here because Yurashak's got all that clean air ready to go, and well, now he's going to run the outside, try to get around the 09 Senesac, Richard Thomas, and look at him go like a slingshot on the outside lane. He's going to clear everyone off turn 2 and have his eyes set on that 12 of Yurashak.
That was a pretty critical pass to make. He couldn't afford to lollygag around behind a group of cars, but half a second, Yurashak's going to try to sprint away. If his strength is short run, maybe his best bet is building that gap and maybe not trying to manage something that Jake Nichols might always be better at him than.
Yeah, that might be the way that the 12 looks at it, as tries to drive away from the 73 of Jake Nichols. Still some guys left on track to make their final pit stops, as the top 3 have yet to come in and pit. Actually, everyone else seems like they might be on the same strategy, close to it in the top 10 besides Senesac in the 09, but still waiting on the final pit stop from Hearn, Elwood, and Tyrion.
And again, give Hearn a couple more laps, but the one thing I start to worry about is the longer you push this, the less time you have in the race to make up with your fresh tires that you've saved for. The other thing to consider is that if you pit too soon, you won't have enough of an advantage to run anybody down. So it's a very delicate balance. It requires a lot of math. And the question is, does Cameron or Alan, do they have this figured out to that degree of accuracy? Because this strategy almost never works without a very careful planning and very careful conditions that allow you to do it. But Shane Darian is going to get passed there by Weishart. And I expect to see that 9 on pit lane pretty soon then.
Yeah, I would expect to see Elwood in within the next handful of laps or so, at least before 30 to go. Want to give some sort of shot at it with fresher tires, and you don't want to lose too much ground to where, you know, you're getting passed by Yurashak and Nichols, and the 4 of Cameron Hearn is just a waiting game. We'll wait and see whenever he makes that final pit stop. Never know with the 4 of Hearn what he's going to do.
So right now, Yurashak is 7 seconds behind Cameron Hearn. On pit lane, Cameron Hearn is going to burn about 40 seconds. So he's going to come out, in theory, if he were to pit this lap, he would come out, what is that, 33 seconds behind? That is under a lap with a presumably 1.5 to 2 second advantage. So it could work, but I don't know that it will. Here comes the 4.
Yep, saw that arc again.
And then Weishart, I wonder if he's not interested in assisting the 12 at all because of that close call on the run into pit lane. Driver's got long memories. He's not going to just forget that.
Oh, might have to remember to hold on to the race car here if he lets it get to him too much. Had a moment there in turn 2, but yeah, he doesn't. Race car drivers don't forget. They keep that in the memory bank and save that in store, whether it's for next week, a few weeks down the road, or even years later. They still remember that specific moment that happened to him. So we'll see what happens when that time comes for Yurashak and Weishart. But for the meantime, Weishart leading, Furness in second, Yurashak getting around Elwood for third.
And the other
and
thing
I would, sorry, I was going to say now I would expect Elwood to come down pit road after being passed by Yurashak.
Yeah, the other thing to consider is Weishart is also inclined to hold up the 12 because the 73 is his teammate. So again, there could be some games at play here as we approach the last 30 or so laps of this race. And as we get down to the last 30 or so laps, race fans, no need to fear, winter is here. Bundle up this season with shop.areaiRacing.com and shop from our new selections of champion hoodies, jackets, and sweatshirts. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areaiRacing.com.
I just had my order come in today, and very impressed with the quality of the new shirts and designs that they have on Area iRacing, or shop.areaiRacing.com. And I got a couple win stickers for myself too. Put on my laptop, and who knows, maybe I'll give one away to a lucky viewer in the chat. We'll see later on down the road. But Alan Elwood down pit road for the final time.
And making his final stop. We're about 16 minutes away from knowing the winner of this race, and so it's we're definitely closing in on the very tail end of this. By the way, remember the 66 had to start from the pit lane. Well, he's still soldiering on. This is a tough night for Eric Wineland, down in 26th place. Only one lap down. Just trudging on. What a frustrating night to have that issue happen when you're not going to get any yellows to help.
Oh, and he's in the wall, scraping it a little bit, but yeah, that stinks whenever you're that far back, when you're, you know, outside the top 20, top 25, and just logging laps, trying to get something to go your way, and it just seems like it's not going to work out for the 66 tonight.
Justin Anasogak, Jeremy Miller battling for 14th place here. And Anasogak's on slightly older tires. I think he's going backwards. Oh. Weishart, Furness, Urashak, all separated by about a half a second apiece. There's Urashak carving through some traffic. Jake Nichols is 1.3 back from Connor.
Gotta wait till later in the run, not to mention 12 closing in on lap traffic while closing in on second for Furness, and Jake Nichols just buying his time like we're accustomed to seeing on these longer runs. So we'll see how that shakes up there. And Jeremy Miller going at it with 41 of Nico Garcia.
Yeah, for the 73, it's almost always intentional that he's driving slower. Again, he's got older tires in Urashak, but by a negligible, doesn't matter amount. So any pace that he is losing now is saving Goodyear rubber for the very last part of this race. When do you turn on the afterburners, though? I would recommend not too long from now, because we got a battle ahead of him. You got traffic to contend with as well. I wouldn't wait till 10 to go to light the fire, but Urashak is likely knowing that his battle is not with the 28, it's not with the 33, it's going to be with the 73 at the end of this in 25 laps time.
Yeah, I would say around 20 to go is when I'd start to make that push, use up some of that rubber and try to work my way back up. If I were the 73 Jake Nichols, and not to mention, still got to go through all this lap traffic. I think it was Ben Pierce or maybe Bowie making his way down pit road. Yeah, close call there. Just a little bit of a close call. But, yeah, still, there comes the 9 of, and not to mention, some of these guys have fresher tires than the leaders. So this could be interesting as the Tyrian's working his way underneath the 33 of Weiser.
Yeah, just to update you on Cameron Hearn. He's 7 laps into his run here. Remember, he made an extra stop in comparison to the front runners. Cameron, last lap, did a 35.4. That was actually slower than Connor Urashak with 8-lap older tires. So that's not going to get the job done. But we'll see how much quicker and sooner the 12s or the 33s tires begin to burn out. This is the battle for the lead now between these two. Oh, contact. And we know how they're not stoked with each other, at least. The 33 is not happy with the 12.
No, not after that late jump on the pit road from Urashak, but he's going to look to the inside and try and take the lead away from Weishart going into 3, and Weishart going to put up a fight as Elwood's closing in, trying to get that lap back.
We try to pin him with the lap car here. The 15 of Alex Bell might be the pick for the 12 as well. Here comes the 10 of Elwood. We're going to be 3 wide, and Weishart has got no recourse to battle the 12 any longer, other than throttling up and trying to get him back. He can't.
No, I thought he was going to be able to do it there, but the tires just aren't there for Weishart, and now Urashak going to set sail, trying to drive away from Weishart first, but more importantly, the 73 Jake Nichols just 1 second behind the 12.
And Jake is beginning to run a little quicker laps than everybody else in the top 10. He was a 10.5 quicker last time. These long runs just play to his favor. And the quicker he can dispatch the 28, the quicker he can move on to the 33. And the 33 is not going to give him any trouble.
At least he shouldn't.
Right. It goes right by John Furness. Makes that look easy.
Thing he doesn't make look easy.
Furness trying to do something to get back, but he will not be able to. Ryan Hartz and JT Poole. This is a bit of a scrap here for 5th place we should pop on board with for a bit.
Yeah, top 5 spot on the line for these two, as Hartz just needs something to go his way, and JT Poole trying to get a little bit more momentum in the right direction towards the end of the regular season and into the postseason, trying to get away around that 3.
And back up to Weishart and Nichols again. I don't anticipate a whole lot of issues here. So Jake Nichols now just 1 second back of Connor Urashak, 20 laps to go to make up 1 second to run down that 12. Now, Jake Nichols has only led 2 laps. Urashak has led 61 and counting. But it is just something about the way Jake plans these races out and the pace and the way that he races, and he just ends up being able to pounce and be on the offensive at the right time. It doesn't matter how many laps you lead if the last one you can't.
There's close call off turn 4th. Eisman scraped the wall back there and did not do that, so he still holds on to 4th for the time being.
A reminder of the playoff picture here. Connor Urashak and Jake Nichols each only have 1 win, so this is going to shift the seeding around a bit, depending on which one of these drivers wins this race.
Yeah, not to mention, Jake Nichols still leads the driver standings, and the winner at the end of the regular season of that will get 15 bonus points towards the playoffs, and any bonus points are worthy in the postseason, but Jake Nichols has to do all he can to make sure that 12 of Urashak doesn't get closer to that, as Vern is actually looking below Weishart for 3rd.
Yeah, he's kind of coming back at him here. Jake didn't have a great lap previously, a 35.6. That was slower than Urashak. Don's going to try the high side here.
We're trying to work that run off turn 4 and down the front stretch, as just flirting with throttle control there, not trying to get too much into the rear tires, making sure it's a good launch. Might have a shot down low into turn 1. Here he goes, side by side for 3rd.
And Weishart trying to cling to a podium spot. Ernest wants one back. Side by side down the back straighter, a Chevy versus Ford. Game is on here as the laps wind down in the Factor 195. Look at Weishart throttle up mid-corner, just trying to keep his nose ahead of that 28.
Dead even at the line there.
But I think the car on the outside here should prevail. 28 threw it down there pretty deep. Threw it down there really deep. He's going to try to slide the 33 Weishart. He's going to have to lift.
Oh, he just got that spot away, barely. If he didn't lift, they would have been up in the wall, and behind these guys, you still got Munsell and Beckner fighting for 8th on the track.
Yeah, good fight between these two. This is for V8, as you mentioned. 27 on the high side there, Travis Beckner. He's been comfortable right up against the outside wall.
You got to get some screws for that steering wheel.
Yeah, we really do. We'll bring it up every time because it's just shocking to me that he is as fast as he is without a stable base to race on. And you just wonder how much of a weapon he would be if that thing was bolted to the ground.
Like racing on a bunch of potholes.
Tom Bourne in the 16. He's down a lap in 28th, but Munsell's still throwing it down in here.
Yeah, still giving it all he can. And yeah, I was going to say, Nichols still hasn't quite closed the gap yet.
Now, 1.0 at the stripe. Slowly taking little nibbles out of the advantage. It was 35.818 for Urashak last lap around. And it was a 35.785 for Jake Nichols. So a hair quicker, but a hair is not going to do it. This is not helping, though. That is a bad corner for Urashak.
Only helping to the 73.
And 35.751, 35.791, advantage 12. Oh, Beckner was in the wall there.
Trying to say, there you see him all the way in the back there. Garrett Grant holding on to that 10th spot. Still has a good gap between himself and the 09 of Senesac.
He's had a good week, feels like, as far as pace is concerned at least.
Yeah, does pretty good at Homestead.
23rd up to 10th. Ice Hart Furnace still going out of here for third. Ryan Hartz is only 1.2 back from this. Oh. Casey Lakatos, a little shake and shimmy there. Yershak gapped Jake that time, added a 10th and a half.
There comes Lightning McQueen on the 33 of Weishart.
Where'd that car come from? We haven't looked at this car all night long. Spencer Brown.
Might have been back at Darlington. Or, you know what? Might have been from the Mazda race where the 95 car spun and people were like, oh my gosh, it's Lightning McQueen. He's turning right to go left.
There was a Lightning McQueen car in the MX-5 race today at Daytona.
Yeah, it spun out on that backstretch chicane and, or the bus stop, I should say.
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah. It's like, he's doing the thing. He's turning right to go left.
There's a little bit of a brain fog there for a moment. Coming to 10 laps to go, and Yershak is still driving away from Jake Nichols. And Jake is running out of time definitively here, right? I mean, he's going to have to start gaining a 10th or 2 a lap consistently and figure out how to make the pass. He's not been able to do that the last few times.
Now he's still trying to work in that outside lane, just hasn't quite been enough for that 73. Closing a little bit on the straightaways, but it seems like the bottom is where Yershak is making up the time, actually running the middle, and Nichols now running the bottom in the tire tracks of the lap car, but
it's getting really exciting around Beckner. I just saw his hands go flying in turns 3 and 4.
Still trying to keep the 6 of Bunzel at bay. Oh, he's got a little moment there.
Told you it's getting exciting. Even when he's not directly up there for the top spot, he is absolutely giving it his all. There's Justin Munsell popping right back into the picture on the bottom of the screen. Good fight.
It's insane how much the steering wheel moves, even on the straightaway, and then you go to the 6 of Munsell, it's stabilized. A little bit here and there, but it's a polar opposite between these two as far as the car control of the steering wheel concerned.
Very different lines, very different handling techniques. They're in the same spot on the track at the same time. But I think Munsell tried to snag this spot away, and Beckner throttles up mid-turn to hang on to it. Oh, wow.
Oh, sideways! Oh my gosh, Beckner, look at him work that wheel! Oh my goodness, keeping it off the wall, but going to lose a spot to Munsell.
Back to 9th, takes a look in the mirror and doesn't see anybody back until Garrett Grant. So I think he'll lose that fight. Lose the battle, but it's all about the war, and that's the playoffs. Hunter Yershak last week won in what was one of the closest finishes. Someone pointed out to me that we had a .000 finish back in the Scar Super Trofeo days on Daytona, but we've certainly never seen that outside of a plate track. I'll tell you that Beckner's still out of control. I'm going to switch back to him thinking he was crashing. But we've had a .00 finish before, but never at a non-super speedway. Hunter won that race by less than 1,000th of a second, propelled himself into the playoffs, and now, if he can get this win, start to look like a serious championship contender if his pace already wasn't indicative of it.
But he's wishing he had the pace of Lightning McQueen now.
Yeah. And he's just got to contend with some traffic. It's not over till it's over, but Jake Nichols has been stalled out about 1 second back. Here's a battle. This is 19th. Nico Garcia, Richard Thomas, and 49. That is
Danny Ware.
Danny Ware, it is. He's a lap down. Different number on that car tonight. That threw me off. Dead last, he started.
Oh, Garcia tapping the wall there.
Alan Elwood and Clayton Montgomery.
Yeah, 15th for the 10 of Elwood. Teammate Montgomery behind him looking for that 15th spot, but overall, I'd say it's a solid job for Elwood. He should definitely be inside the top 20 in points by the end of the night, so meaning he has IRP in Talladega to get that win and propel himself into the playoffs. Still time left for the 10.
David Weishart feeling some pressure from Ryan Hartz. This is for 4th. And probably the most volatile moment, except for this one. Travis Beckner and Garrett Grant. I thought Travis was going to be able to hang on to this, but he has quickly given up time to the 5, and here comes Garrett.
Yeah, with how much Beckner's been fighting that steering wheel, it doesn't surprise me that Garrett's closed the gap. Car control's just going, whoa, got to be close there. My gosh, I almost touched in turn 2.
Weishart lost a spot to Hartz, going back to this again. Beckner and Grant. Whoa, that's a big send for the 5. 3 laps to go, by the way. And this is not over yet.
Oh, Beckner might have bounced off the wall there. Got really close to it, but still putting up a fight for that 9th spot with Garrett Grant.
He is going to make this hard for the 5 to complete. Great run for Grant at the exit of turn 2, though. Little bobble by the 27. He's in the fence.
Yeah, only so much you can do there. And was close to bringing out a yellow with that, but Beckner's still going to have a handful as we're coming up on the final 2 laps.
Yeah, we're already in the middle of it, in fact, but look at all the traffic. Here's a shot. Oh,
whoa,
spin!
Whoa, Richard Thomas!
Saves it.
Wow.
Wow.
That was right right in front of the leader now, but man, we almost saw our first caution.
Yeah, just got really sideways and managed to hang on to it, but that was a heart-stopping moment. Here comes Connor Yershak to the safety of the white flag. 1.5 seconds ahead of Jake Nichols, but it's not over until he comes back around to the checkers. Connor Yershak was winless until a week ago. He was able to pip the 28 by less than 1,000th of a second. And Connor, sorry, Hunter, my brain's melting here on this last lap. It's been a long night for me. Connor Yershak's just done everything right. And Jake Nichols, David, all he had, planned the strategy well at that long run pace, but it will not be enough. Connor Yershak is going to solidify his 2nd win of the season. No doubters this week. No stealing this week. Connor Yershak earned that one and led a whole bunch of laps en route to victory at Homestead. Matthew Bell, Jordan Martin. This is for 13th place. Nichols, Furness, Hartz, Weishart, the rest of the top 5. This is a little dicey out of 4. Whoa!
Oh, Martin's going to hold on to it, but not get around the 43. And Darian also holding on to it, too.
The last of the lead lap cars will come across the stripe. Nico Garcia, drag race, and Cameron Harney will lose that drag race by about 38 thousandths of a second. Job well done for Yershak, though. He earned this one tonight. There is nobody that's going to doubt this one.
No, he led the, what was that, 81 laps?
81 laps.
Wow. Drastic difference compared to last week's win, in which he only led 3 laps.
He won by the width of a finger at Richmond. And this week, that was a whole corner that he had to himself. He will celebrate winning the Factor 195. Once again, look at Eat Healthier in 2024. No need to fear, Factor is here. Choose from over 20 different meal options each week, including keto-friendly choices, calorie-smart meals, and vegetarian options. Factor meals are prepared with nutrients and ready to eat in 2 minutes or less, saving time so you can enjoy your day without meal prep or cleanup. Click the link in the chat to get started and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. All right, let's have a look here at our session results. And it is Connor Yershak up on top, as we mentioned. Jake Nichols in 2nd place. That long run pace never came in that last run, Hunter, like we expected.
No, it didn't, and Nichols going to have to hold on to 2nd for that one. Furness, though, with a good podium, good run there, keeping that momentum going. Ryan Hartz with a much-needed 4th place after the season he's had. He'll take that. Weishart 5th, and then Poole, Mitchell, Munsell, Grant getting around Beckner for that 9th spot, and Beckner P10.
And looking down the rest of the order, Senesac 11th. Great run for him in the 09. Miller 12th. Good consistent night. Alan Elwood ends up 15th. Dane Therian, Hearn, and Stafford also dipping inside the top 20. Some drivers down the order a little ways. Justin Anisogak 21st. Richard Thomas with that scary slide ends up 23rd. And then Eric Wineland never got a real fair shot at this one tonight. Had to start from the pits. 35th for him. Brad Slaughter Jr. out earlier with issues. And, of course, we documented the 7's problems. 41st. That is going to hurt as far as the points are concerned for the 7.
Yeah, the 7, where did Skyler fall? He lost 4 spots in the driver's points after that. Not going to matter to him, though, because he's got 4 wins on the season, but Urashak, that's going to matter to him. Moves up to 2nd now, 32 points behind Jake Nicholas.
Yeah, interesting race. And we keep the stat of no caution flags here at Homestead in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. John Furness was 2nd last week by what felt like a millimeter. But John, tonight...
Nope, it was not a millimeter. It was a tie.
Either way, this one unfortunately was not. 3rd tonight for you, John. You led some laps, had some pace, but ultimately just wasn't quite in the right position there. Maybe the yellow would have changed some things for you, but P3 is not bad, and the momentum is absolutely trending in the right direction.
Yeah, we had a good run. It was a lot of fun. I really like coming to this track, or any track where you can race these cars side by side, so... big congrats to Connor on a win tonight. Glad he finally got his first win of the year and not a tie. So, no, but I guess I should have looked at Larry Mack's trends in the race there, because I heard somebody say it was like, no cautions last time we raced here either. I was banking on a caution.
We've never had a caution here in this series.
Well, we had like 135-degree track temp for practice, and I'm thinking, yeah, surely we're going to wreck. So after about 10 laps, I just sent it to the front thinking, okay, I'm going to catch a caution here, and it just never happened, and I paid for it pretty much all race after that. So still, 3rd's a good run. Want to thank Fazekas Motorsports, NAI DeLeo Bram and Company, Fame Construction, and Flash Picks for their support of our team here at Fazekas Motorsports. Good run for the team tonight, too.
Yeah, great run for you, John. Congratulations. Another top 5, and the momentum is coming at the right time as we approach the playoffs. So good luck to you next week at IRP.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
We'll see you.
Bye.
And Jake Nichols comes home 2nd tonight. And Jake, you were really trending in the right direction there on that 2nd to last run, and almost thought for certain that you would be hounding the 12 coming back to the checkers, but just kind of stalled out about 1 second back once they were through the traffic, and Connor held you off this week. So it's not a win. He will grab his 2nd win of the season. He will stay P2 in this one, but still a great points night. Good points night as well for the team. But just looking forward to the playoffs. I think you probably would have liked to have that one under your elbow there.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get 5 more playoff points, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to win the regular season points, and you don't want to celebrate on someone's issues like James lagging out, but that run gave us a big point gap going into 2 races that as long as I just don't crash out, we should pretty much lock it down with how we're finishing, as long as we just keep finishing top five, and then we start the playoffs P1. So we'll take it. Yeah, the second run felt a little different at the beginning. It felt like we had a little more grip, and so I just I use that to my advantage, knowing that if it felt like grippy, then I could just save my stuff a little bit, run about same speed as Connor, and I pitted a lap after him too, so that helped as well. And then the long run, we were just digging. If it felt like that the whole race, I think we could have been contending for the win a little more. We lost a little not track position, but I guess just time on track to Connor that first stint too. It was a little tight in traffic, a little push loose at the same time. Could have done things differently and maybe got to him possibly, but we'll still take it. We made ground, obviously starting 5th, finishing 2nd, so we'll take it in the Matco Tools Toyota Supra provided by David Weishart Racing and 609 Motorsports. Hopefully we can get back in victory lane before the playoffs start, but either way, we're looking forward to the playoffs and seeing what we can do to try to make it to the Final 4.
Pace is there, finishes are there as well. Jake, congratulations on a P2. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you then.
And Connor Urashak does not have to spend any time defending his win this week. Won that one by 1.1 seconds, which as far as percentages, is like 10 billion times more than you won the race last week by. So I'm sure you'll take that. Maybe your heart pounding there, that last run, trying to keep Jake behind you. But he was never able to get there. And this week, no one's questioning who won.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. I mean, it went green and lap cars were respectful, and racing, the weather and tire was pretty good. It was just fun overall. The last run was probably the easiest run of the race because I was on one lap fresher tires there than Jake, and I could just manage gap and just make sure I didn't burn my stuff up. So, but it was a really good race. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, green from flag to flag. This now makes the 520th straight green flag lap here at this track in this series. 4 races, you are the 3rd different winner. You're getting hot at the right time, Connor. How much momentum does this carry for you into IRP in Talladega next week, now that you've got at least the threat of getting booted out of the playoffs well off your mind?
Yeah, I definitely am going to need to keep winning races because with Road to Pro coming up and them running on Thursday, I'm going to be missing a few races in the playoffs. So I'm basically going to have to win my way the whole way through. But, you know, we're starting off good, so keep the momentum rolling.
Keep it rolling. P1 for the 2nd week in a row. Connor Urashak wins at Homestead. Thanks for chatting. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a good night.
You as well. All right. Wow. Hunter, final thoughts here on Homestead, because I'll tell you one thing is that 520 laps straight with no yellows, especially with a 43-car field, is an unbelievable stat that the entire series should be proud of. But just really well done by everybody in the race to keep everything going the right direction.
Yeah, phenomenal job. I surely thought that we'd get at least one yellow tonight with how many cars we had in the field, but to that, the Pro Series drivers kept it clean, had quite a few scares there to where we almost made history for 2nd straight week, but they kept it clean, kept it green, and in the end it worked out for Urashak. Gets back-to-back wins, and he's going to look for 3 in a row here at IRP, a track that the Pro Series has never been to before.
Yeah, going to be an interesting one next week. For some short track racing, I'm sure that'll be fun. Thanks for watching the Factor 195. Again, use that link in the chat. Get yourself 50% off your first Factor box. Kyle Heyer alongside Hunter Sleppy. It was a long one tonight, but an incredible race, and we'll see you next week for IRP here for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Thanks for watching.